Going through life, there's a lot of observations you can make, and some of them are just amusing. I don't think you need to read books anymore. Now, it's not that I don't think books are good to read. I think books have a lot to teach you. But if a book is good enough, then someone's going to make it into a movie. And then I can read the book in 2 hours. I was watching this show on Netflix called Speed Cubers. I guess more specifically, I was watching the trailer for it. And in the trailer, they were saying, it takes the average person 3 hours to solve a Rubik's Cube. But these kids can do it in like 5 seconds or something like that. I was amazed. I was blown away. I could not believe that stat. You're telling me that the average person takes 3 hours to solve a Rubik's Cube? There is no way that's plausible, because the average person cannot solve a Rubik's Cube. If the average between me and one of those kids that solved a Rubik's Cube in 5 seconds would be infinity still. It's still infinity. What do you mean an average of 3 hours? I'm like, you know what? Maybe it is true. Maybe during my life of playing around with Rubik's Cubes, the only thing I did wrong was not give myself 3 hours to work on it. I'm going to take this Rubik's Cube, I'm going to mix it all up, and I'm going to give myself, like, over the course of maybe 15 to 20 minutes a day, like 2 weeks to solve this Rubik's Cube. I'm going to give myself at least 3 hours to really think about it, look at it, try it, and you know what? I was able to solve one side, I was able to solve a second side, and I was even able to solve like a third side, and then it's impossible. You can't solve a Rubik's Cube. If it's true that the average person can solve a Rubik's Cube in 3 hours, I can't imagine how below average I am. I know that not being able to solve a Rubik's Cube really doesn't say anything about your intelligence or anything like that. And I also know that they say that, there's no stupid questions. So, you're supposed to ask questions, learn things, but I don't know if that's exactly true. I do think there are some questions that are stupid questions. Case in point, the day I got married, obviously I was getting married to my wife. There was a reception. My friends were there, and they were all sitting at the table. They had a good time. I was happy. Different friends from different places were all sitting at the table having a good time together. And so my one friend comes up to me after I got married. Me and all your friends over here, we're going to go out to a bar and get a drink. You want to join us? I'm pretty sure you may have forgotten where you are, because this is my wedding. What do you think is going to happen tonight? I'm going to go have sex with my wife. I think it was a dumb question. You can find answers to a lot of dumb questions online. My wife was watching this YouTuber. She was looking up something to do with like food allergies or something like that, and she stumbled across this, and I don't really know what it was, and I don't know what they specifically were talking about, and I only overheard a small part of it. She was talking about, introducing her daughter to new foods, testing to see if there's any food allergies, and that's all well and good, that's fine. And they got to they were on like the nut stage or something like that, and so they were introducing almonds to her for the first time, and so they were just saying how happy they were, how excited that they were that their daughter was not allergic to almonds. There's nothing wrong with that. That's totally fine. But it was the way that she kind of presented that information. She was like, it's so great that our daughter is not allergic to almonds. Just think of all the things that almonds are in today. I mean, there's almond milk, there's almond flour, there's almond butter. There's just almonds in everything now. And I remember thinking to myself that I'm like, it's not that they're putting almonds in everything. They're making things out of almonds. If you take the word almond out of each of those things, then it's just the regular version of that thing. It's not to say that you might not find traces of almonds, but it's like saying, I'm happy that I don't have an apple allergy because I like pies. And, there's apple in pies now. Like, you can't get away from apples. And I don't want to sound insensitive. I understand that different times, like when they're making things at different plants, that sometimes there can be some cross-contamination with stuff. And, it's important to read labels and stuff like that. But even past food, I like reading, instruction manuals. I like to make sure I know how I'm supposed to use the thing that I'm trying to use and how it works. And for our daughter, we got this touchless thermometer thing. You just kind of like point it at their forehead. You're like 6 inches away, and it'll tell the temperature. It's great. It's awesome. I don't remember that kind of thing existing when I was a kid. But one of the things that the instruction manual said that this new thermometer could do is it can gauge the room temperature. and that would be helpful so that you know what to wear. And I remember thinking when I read that if you are in the room and you don't know what to wear, there's probably a bigger problem. We noticed something when we went out to the park. We live in one of the most diverse places on Earth. It's called like Elmhurst. It's in Queens, and it's actually like one of the most diverse locations on Earth in terms of, I think, the different races living there and stuff like that. And so, very roughly, there's probably like 25% white, 25% Latino, 25% black, 25% Asian, and other races. I don't really know. I don't know what the actual statistics are for the people that live in our area. But I do know that whenever we go to the park, it is virtually 100% Latino. I don't understand why. Latinos make up maybe 25% of where we live, but they make up like almost 100% of every person at the park at any given time. Doesn't matter if it's cold or hot, they're at the park. They're playing soccer, they're playing volleyball, they're having cookouts, they're having birthday parties. There's always stuff going on. They're just very outdoorsy, and I guess maybe other races just aren't quite as outdoorsy. And it made me think, maybe there's historical reasons for different races, where they came from, what they did in their past that could have led to where, like, how they look now. Maybe Latinos started off as white people. They just got addicted to being outside, and they got really tan. I was watching a documentary, and it was someone identifying as them that they were referring to in the documentary. It is confusing though, especially when you're first hearing it, is whenever a singular person is being referred to as them. And I kept getting confused throughout the documentary talking about this person. And, so it kept saying things like, they went to the tournament and won, and they had this stuff happen to them. And then when they had, they just kept saying they and them. And I kept thinking it was like his group of people or like his friends, or like I was having trouble following the story at different times. I also wonder, like, is it? Like using it instead of they or something like that. Is that bad? Saying it went to the store. It went to. It's a singular, and I can even see what the argument against that would be. Saying something like, well, you don't refer to someone as it because they're still a person. And to that, I would say, I think you're being a little bit insensitive because they are a people. And I mean, I get it. Things change. Words can change. But not everything changes. Some things that should change don't, and I don't understand why. Case in point, why do fax machines still exist? They came around the same time that pagers came out. And pagers, it made sense. I understood why pagers existed, and I also understand why they don't exist anymore. Why is it so common for a place to want a fax from me? I mean, not to just want a fax from me, but to have no other method of getting that information from me. Emails exist, right? So you're trying to tell me that there's two ways that I can get this to you. I can either have a fax machine. The other method is I have to take this digital file that I have on my computer. I need to print it out with a printer. Once it's printed out, I need to go on my phone, go to the App Store, find some sort of app or service that will allow me to send faxes, and then I need to download that app, install it, use my phone to take pictures of all the pages in the document. I have to add a cover page to it, and then I have to send it via this phone line to go print out at another printer so that they can receive my document. And I feel like there's just a lot of wasted steps in there. When a pager was helpful, it was before cell phones existed. Once cell phones became a thing, pagers ceased being a thing. I feel like email became a thing a long time ago. It's pretty well established. But I don't understand why fax machines are still around. Let me know if these things have ever crossed your mind and what you think about them. Let me know. I'd be interested in hearing it. Talk to you later.